of the Islamic Cooperation Organization, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is has an important role to play. Distinguished guests and my distinguished brothers, during our term presidency, we are going to raise the voice of Islamic geography.
नाज़रीन इस वक्त इस्तांबुल में OIC इजलास जारी है.
We discuss their status quo in this meeting, and we will be discussing the joint steps we can take for their faith. Distinguished brothers, multilateralism is the basis of international cooperation, but we're passing through a legitimacy crisis which is questioning the system itself. Increasing intolerance, identity-based polarization, and the erosion of international law is actually increasing the global instability feeling. The protectionist policies have gained a dominant position in international relations. Starting from the United Nations Security Council, the international mechanisms are becoming non-functional, and the violence in Gaza is actually an important example to witness this. Our organization should play a leading role, especially on this point. We are representing 1/4 of the population of the whole world, and Islamic countries that have immense resources should actually be a pioneer of a system, of global system that will defend justice and prioritize rights. The organization should adapt to new conditions, and we need to make sure that our organization adapts to these conditions. The fact that we have high representation to our meeting is showing our determinism that we want to act together and in unity, and it's showing our joint strength. In this turbulent period, Islam is actually the leading guidance that we are all in need of. In the Holy Quran, in the Al-Imran verse, it says, "And hold firmly together to the rope of Allah, and do not be divided." With this understanding, our organization, beyond being a platform of dialogue, should be an important function of coordination and consensus of member states and play an important function to the same. Turkey is a founding member of OIC, and we will continue to play a constructive and pioneering role for the full potential of the organization to be exhibited. During our term presidency, we will focus on 4 main areas in our activities: collaboration and solidarity on the ongoing crisis and focusing on the resolutions, developing further relations with other countries and international institutions between the OIC and these partners, continue defending the rights of the Muslim minorities and communities with determinism, increasing capacities of member countries, and organizing sectoral meetings to this aim. Distinguished participants, the ongoing aggression of Israel and occupationist policies makes sure that we have an Israel problem in our region in all its clarity. This problem is neither a Palestinian, Lebanon, a Syrian, or Yemen, or Iran problem. This is clearly Israel problem. While the negotiations on the nuclear program of Iran are continuing, the attacks that have been undertaken by Israel vis-à-vis Iran, we strongly condemn these attacks. This could lead to a disaster in our region and have negative reflections on the many other regions, and we believe that this unlawful attack should end immediately. The first priority of the international society should be to avoid the spiral of violence, which is going to even endanger the regional and global security further. As Turkey, we are ready to fulfill our obligations. Under the leadership of His Excellency, the President of our Republic, we are supporting any diplomatic step to avoid the further escalation of the tensions, and we are constantly in contact with the relevant partners. The members of the OIC should act in unison vis-à-vis Israel's attack, and they should have a strong solidarity with Iran vis-à-vis these attacks. The massacre policies and the crimes against humanity of Israel against the Palestinians are continuing. It's not just in Gaza, but the Western Bank is being transformed into a war zone. The aim of Israel is to exile all Palestinians and undermine the two-state solution vision. Permanent ceasefire, releasing the hostages, and uninterrupted humanitarian access to the Gaza is our priority. The negotiations that are continuing to this aim are strongly supported by us. We would like to thank Qatar and Egypt for their efforts in this problem. The two-state solution and the just and permanent peace is only achieved through this two-state solution. The ongoing occupation in the Palestinian territory is the root cause of all the clashes in our region, and we can see this more clearly now. The Palestinian issue and owning Jerusalem is the reason of existence for the OIC. My distinguished brothers, vis-à-vis our joint efforts today with our Syrian brothers, we are walking towards a stable and welfare Syria target. And we're very happy that Syria is back in our organization. The loosening of the ongoing sanctions, and in a simultaneous manner, we should actually stand by our Syrian brothers. The Balkans are an ancient part of the Muslim geography, and we do not just have historical ties, but it's also carrying the signatures of our joint civilization and our fraternity. Our Muslim brothers living have passed through various challenges, and today they're standing against determinism and dignity vis-à-vis the threat of being divided. We should show that they're not alone, and the Muslim world is actually owning our Bosnian brothers. This is our joint task. The discrimination and secessionist rhetoric is totally condemned by us, and the revisionist approaches pertaining to religion and ethnicity are condemned by us. On the other hand, for 3 years there have been clashes that created deep pain in our Sudanese brothers. As Turkey, we are supporting all regional and international peace activities to resolve this crisis. And we are inviting international society to sincerely contribute to peace and welfare and stability in Sudan. We should not forget that the resolution of this problem is not just important for the Sudanese people, but also for the whole continent and predominantly the Horn of Africa. On the other hand, Pakistan and Hindustan are, India are passing through some clashes, and this is actually putting forward the vulnerability in Southeast Asia of peace and stability. The decision of ceasefire between the parties is appreciated by us, and we do hope that this is going to be resolving the problem through dialogue. If the clashes starting from Kashmir is not resolved, the tension potential is going to increase. We should actually make the dialogue channels functional. A direct and healthy dialogue is going to be important for peace, security, and stability in Southeast Asia. In the island of Cyprus, there are two nations and two states. The Islamic world is an important unity, and the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus is represented as an observer in our family. But unfortunately, the Turks of Cyprus have been subject to unjust and inhuman isolation that have been imposed on them for decades now. We invite all the member countries to support the natural rights of the Turkish people living in Cyprus and support them directly. The Turkish Muslim minority and the Turkish population living in the Dodecanese are also subject to important violations that eliminates them to benefit from their fundamental rights. The interest of the OIC vis-à-vis this issue is important for the ethnic identities, the religious, education, and cultural rights are to be recognized by the Greek authorities. My distinguished brothers, our Ummah is great and strong, and we should use this strength to bring stability and welfare to our region. We should stand against all those people who are destructing their environment And it is now the day that our organization should be one body and one soul to give one voice. Before I end my remarks, I would like to thank the representatives of our ministry and the Secretary General for the organization of this meeting. And the exchange of opinion and negotiations that we are going to undertake during the meetings, I believe, will bring fruitful results. During our term presidency, we will have closer cooperation with all the member states. And once again, I would like to thank you for your valuable support.